Hello, everybody. On behalf of our founder, Darshawn Kendrick, I just want to welcome you to Friends of Financial Freedom and this interview series that I do with members who want to share their financial expertise with us and with the group. And so we are going to dive right in. And I am here with my dear friend, Dr. Kelly. I have not met her yet in person, but it's just one of those people where you meet online and there's instant connection. And so when she began talking about her business, we met at a different organization, but I immediately wanted to invite her here to Friends of Financial Freedom because of what she's talking about. And so without going too much into what I want her to share about herself. And so Dr. Kelly, just introduce yourself to Friends of Financial Freedom.
Yes. Well, first of all, Dr. Roz, I want to thank you so much for having me here. And I love what you guys are doing. So to introduce myself, I call myself the Worth and Wealth Alchemist for female entrepreneurs, so that they can really create a quantum leap in their wealth. So I'm all about getting women in alignment with high vibe money and prosperity.
Okay, worth, and I want to write this down because I want to use it within our pepper it in our interview. Worth and Wealth Alchemist.
Worth and Wealth Alchemist.
So
yeah.
Tell me what an alchemist is.
Yeah. So traditionally, alchemists were able to turn, like base metals into gold, right? There was alchemy. There was a process in that. And so what I have discovered with women in our relationship with money and abundance, there needs to be an internal alchemy, and we need to really own our worth from the inside out. And when we can really own it and be a vibrational match for next level wealth, then it begins to happen. So it's the inner game, and I teach the inner game first, and then we put in the structures that are needed to have a woman really create a financial breakthrough.
So what that says to me is that an alchemist, alchemy is not something out of nothing. That an alchemy takes something you already have, and enhances it, transforms it, whatever word you want to use, which means that everybody watching this video already has inside what we need in order to have that wealth and to have that abundance. It's using your expertise. So obviously I'm not asking you to give away your whole coaching program, but like what is your like your first step, or what is the thing that you say, like what if somebody says, I feel like there's some blocks, or I feel like I'm not where I want to be in terms of wealth and abundance, whatever that is, how do you address those kinds of topics?
Yeah. So to begin the journey, what I would say is I have a 4-step process that I bring women through, and I'll give you the high level version of it today. But the first step is for you to get crystal clear on what do you want? And isn't in alignment with what you really value, right? Like there are women that want to build $1 million businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses. And yet when they think about that, they have this internal resistance because they think, oh my gosh, that's going to require so much work. And for example, for my mamas that are listening, they might think, oh, well, that might mean less time with my family. Right. So the first step, I think, is really to get it clear, like, what do you want? And is it in alignment with the things that you value in life? And so what I notice is for women, for example, that want to reach even that first 6 figures, right? They get clear on what they want, but then they think it's not in alignment with what they value. So there's a mismatch, right? And I'm here to say that you can have it all, right? You can have a profitable business and have time and lifestyle with your family and your loved ones. So I would say the first step is really getting clear with what you want, and notice what comes up for you. And so that leads us into that real first step is the release step. And the release step is about releasing the things that might be keeping you from getting to that next level. And you generally know what that is, right? Often. So there needs to be a release, the willingness to let go of the inner conflict. Well, if I have this, then I can't have this, because most of the times you can have both. You can have both.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, rarely do I meet a woman in business that can, sit on a cushion and manifest the ideal. Like I tell women, we need to be able to get off the cushion, right? We need to be willing to do the work, but that inner work is so important. So that's the first step, is that release the old, Release the, I can't have it, I don't deserve it. The second step is reclaim. And this is where we help women to reclaim or remember all the victories that have gotten them to this point in life. And every woman has a journey and a unique gift, so big, whether it's related to money or not, but remembering how awesome you are. So important. Like, what are the big things that you've done in life that you forget? I say we have power amnesia. We forget how powerful we are.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So that willingness, and sometimes it's a matter of sitting down, setting a timer for 5 minutes and write down all the awesome things you've done in your life, right? Like, let's remember, let's reclaim that power. So giving birth, walking the stage, receiving a reward, like all the things, because we forget because of that power amnesia. Yeah. So first step, release the old. Second step, reclaim the power, right? The power to create the life you want to create. And then I would say the third step is the willingness to write a new story. So it's a rewrite step.
Yeah.
So we've got release, reclaim, rewrite. And rewrite is, well, what's the new storyline? So if the old storyline is, I've worked so hard, I've worked, and it's not showing up yet, then the new storyline needs to be that willingness to glide more, to create more grace, to have money flow more easily and effortlessly.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that. Glide more. Yeah.
Glide. Grace.
Yeah, not strive. You didn't say strive.
No.
You didn't say churned. You didn't say get on the hamster wheel. You said glide.
Yeah. Glide and flow. So yeah, becoming aware of what's the new money story that you're gonna rewrite, rewriting history, or her story.
Her story.
And then the fourth step is the last step, where it's the receive step. And this is where we practice receiving. So it could start with a simple thing like someone gives you a compliment. And are you quick to return the compliment? Or do you allow yourself to receive the blessings and the acknowledgement? And so we can start with something, it's the surrender. It's the let go and receive. So this is obviously, we just kind of downloaded that in like 5 minutes, right? But this is a much deeper process that I bring women through in my programs.
Right. Because each one of us has stories we've been telling ourselves since we were little. And so whichever decade of life that we're in, we have some, even like I talk about this in terms of me and nonviolence and all the things that I needed to unlearn and relearn in a different way. But the same is true for the messages we tell ourselves about money and abundance.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. We pick up on these things through conditioning through our parents, conditioning through our churches, conditioning through, family, friends. Like we tend to pick up on what the environment tells us, especially they say up until age 7, we're just taking it all in. Like we don't know ourselves separate from our mamas and our papas, right? Like we are them, right? And so we go through this process of individuation, but we often carry that lack story, that what I call the scare city, right? The city of scare, there's not enough, versus the prosper city where there's abundance. Yeah. Such an abundance.
Yes. Yes. And as a group, for those of you that are watching this, we're recording this in November the 28th. And we, as a group, are reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And
I love it.
Dovetails directly into what you're talking about. Because there, it was this mindset of, this is what we do. We go get as much education as we can, and then we write our own ticket. And that's not what was the case, what was going on for them in their household. And that's not Elizabeth's story. That's what I was told, and got the PhD and grateful for it. But that was not the key to unlocking abundance. And so again, and you have your doctorate too. So it's not that that's not a good thing. It's just, I'm guessing, Dr. Kelly, you would say that earning your doctorate is not what unlocked the wealth key for you.
It wasn't. In fact, I went through an exercise more recently, an event where we wrote down in a lifetime, how much money have you made? And it took us a while to like write it all down. And it brought me back to, I started making money when I was 13 years old. And I was a kid. I was a sailing instructor, and my parents had to like sign something so that I could actually work. But then I look at how many years in my whole lifetime have I been in productivity of making money. And I would say when I look at all my age, I've spent so much time in school, right? That a lot of those I was blessed. I mean, sometimes I would work part-time, but for the most part, a lot of my energy has gone to education. And while I think education is amazing, right? It's not the key. It's not the key that got me the abundance, because I wasn't making the money that I'm making now. Even my turning point was in 2015, where I was bringing in about 50K a year, but by the time I paid all my expenses, I was in the negative.
Oh, wow.
I was in negative cash flow, and I was $130,000 in debt. Much of that debt was education debt.
Wow.
So I really want to say, it's like, it's not the education that's going to make you money. And yet that's what we're told.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I know you did not, we didn't plan this, dear watcher, those of you that are watching, we did not plan that at all. But as you know, Kelly, I mean, I have debt-free degree with Dr. Roz, and
Yes.
I didn't know that we were going to venture into that. And so the fact that you have, I don't know how much of that 130 is your student loan debt. Right now, 37% of all students who owe student loan debt owe six figures. 37%.
37. It's crazy.
Yeah. So if your debt is somewhere, approaching that 130, if it's over the 100, then you're in that 37%, or you were back then. And
no, we cleaned that up. But like, I remember how stressful that was as a young person, right? I mean,
yes.
We put our kids right in debt and tell them that education's the only way. And that's not to take away from education, but it's not the thing. It's not the thing that's going to make you so abundant.
Right. So you might not want to answer this, because again, I didn't prep you that I was going to ask you this, but what was the key? Because you're saying now you had that in 2015, right?
Yeah, 2015 was the turnaround year for me. And I can tell you the moment it turned around.
So I would love, if you'd like to share the moment, I'd love to hear the moment. I would also love to hear the nugget of what was the overarching thing that you did to erase $130,000 in debt.
Okay, so twofold question. So I'll take the moment, and then we'll go to how did I get out of the debt. So it was a moment in history. I had been working at that time. I had 3 coaches. I'd been working with coaches, and my coach told me, I remember sitting outside receiving the coaching, and she said, and I was at the point of quitting. So I was $130,000 in debt. On the outside, I was successful, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning that I had an Amazon bestseller. I had a community. I had a course for sale. Like on the outside, it looked like the doctor was thriving. But if you looked at my bank accounts, I mean, we were struggling month to month to even pay the mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was a stressful time in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was very close to quitting as a coach and just going back to chiropractic where I could make some money, right? Yes. Because that was where my education was. So my coach said, you need to double your rates. And my heart dropped out, my stomach, I got the butterflies, and I could hear the quiver in my voice. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah, you need to double your rates because you are undercharging and you give so much. Like so many people were so good at giving. In fact, those are the women I'm here to serve. Like we're great at giving, but it was really challenging to ask for what market rate was. Wow. And so that was the moment where she said, well, what's the worst that can happen? I said, I'm getting close to quitting. I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. She says, I dare you, give it 30 days. And I'm like, 30 days. Okay. And she said, what's the worst that can happen? Well, no one signs up to work with me. She says, great. And how much further along would you be? And I'm like, or worse. And I said, not really that much worse. Mm-hmm. So that was the year I doubled my rates and I tripled my business. And that's where I soared past 6 figures for the first time in my life. And I would say, I take women through my program, Abundance Unleashed, my group program, where the very next thing I realized I need to be a different CEO than I had been up to that point. Mm-hmm. So that multi-six-figure CEO was not the woman that was coaching the moment before that challenge was given. Yeah. And I had to become that woman of my dreams. Yes. And so there was a lot of worthiness around that. You know, I said I wanted 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, but I didn't feel worthy. So I took myself through an internal journey. And that was the beginning of massive change.
Wow.
So that leads into what you're asking. How did you get yourself out of debt? Well, first of all, I had to get in positive cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like I had to get in positive cash flow. But I did end up, we worked with a nonprofit that helped us create a plan.
Excellent.
And they helped us negotiate not what we owed, because we didn't believe in, you know, we wanted to pay everything that we owed, right?
Yeah.
And so what this nonprofit did on our behalf is they negotiated with the credit card companies to bring down our rates to in a reasonable amount. And then we sent the money to the nonprofit, and the nonprofit paid all of our credit cards on our behalf at a lower rate. And then I just watched my debt go down, 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 down until we cleared it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how
So,
we did it.
so how much of that was student loan debt?
Oh gosh, that's a great question.
Well, let me
Over
ask it
6
this way.
figures. Yeah,
It
I
was
don't
okay.
remember.
So this nonprofit helped you not only with credit card debt, but with student loan debt. I guess that's what I was asking.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics. It's been a long time. That was a long time ago, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Absolutely. They had everything down to like one payment, and we just kind of watched it all.
Just kept
Watch it go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they negotiate on your behalf. Plus your cash flow had started flooding in.
Yeah.
Versus what it had been. So those two, that confluence. Yeah. So once you're watching this video, then Dr. Kelly's going to go in on that first comment and put all of her contact information, and you can reach out. Too, I don't think that anything happens by accident or that's not in what I would call divine timing. And as a group, our founder, Darshan Kendrick, is hosting a vision party. And it was like you had to sign up to get information, and then you got the information, and then there were only 20 slots to be able to go to this vision party. And I was fortunate enough to get one of the slots. So I'm delighted to spend that time with Darshan. But what we're going to be doing is obviously visioning out 2023. And then, for me, it never stops at the next calendar year, right? And so all of this is coming at the exact right time. So I'm assuming you probably have some sort of begin the year, or do you want 2023 to be your year of abundance or whatever? So please post in the group, let us know how we can support you, but let us know, for those of us that want to jump in on that coaching program, let us know how we can sign up. I mean, please let this be the first of many, many, many things that you post in the group, and we're just delighted that you joined us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching the interview with Dr. Kelly, and we will be back very, very soon. And again, on behalf of Darshan Kendrick, we are delighted each one of you is here. Thank you. Bye-bye.